For those of you later listening on YouTube, this is a Twitter space. Come on in, YouTube listeners that are watching later on, listening later on. This is a Twitter space. I'm gonna get talking in a little bit. What's up, everybody who's in here so far? Last spur of the moment, Twitter space. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna get started in 1 minute. There we go. There we go. I had to share everything to my other social media, but this here, this here is about post that was put up. Salute. He not in here now, but I got an inbox this morning from Sincere love the God, and he posted. Let me see if I can have these pictures. Let me see if I can post these pictures. Let me see if I can post these pictures. He posted the screenshot of this article that was basically saying that Mexicans helped create the LA hip hop uh scene style. Like basically the way black folks and West Coast hip hop dress, they're trying to give credit to Mexicans. Let me see here. Let me, let me hold on 1 second. 1 second. I'm looking for a picture. Here it is. I found it. I found it. That's what he said. Sincere said he found this on Tidal. It's called Cholo Style. I'm over here about to I'm about to put this up in the Jumbotron. I'm about to put this up in the Jumbotron. Let's see here. Let's see here. Uh 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 Here we go. Let's talk about. Okay, here we go. I'm about to put this up in here. I'm about to send this tweet. Usually I have a mod to do this part for me, but I did this last second, so I ain't got no mods today. All right. What's up, Twizzle? But yeah, so here we go. I just put it in here. I just put the tweet up for those of you who wonder what I'm talking about. They're basically saying that the West Coast fashion style was created with Mexicans in mind, and Mexicans had something to do with the creation of our style. I want to first off say this to you people on the East Coast. Yeah, in New York, they may be around each other at the bodegas and shit. Not in LA. Now, these kids might have these kids, like the younger generation, some of them, because a lot of folks have been displaced back out to like goddamn Palmdale and these other outside areas. In certain situations you do have some mingling going on, because that's mostly because right now a lot of black kids are outnumbered um in the inner city and in some of these outlying areas. So you may have some mixing going on now in the last 10 years. But we talking about 80s and 90s, black people over here, Mexicans over there. All the Mexicans before the riots. I remember when the Mexicans like got real abundant here in South Central LA. It was really after the LA riots. Before the LA riots, the Mexicans were for the most part in East LA, on the east side of town. You have a couple of them sprinkled in near in black neighborhoods, but for the most part, we was over here, they was over there. And then even when we do like when they've been coming more so in the hood, the last since the riots, even though a block may easily be 50-50 black and Mexican. The black people and the Mexicans don't talk to each other, don't say nothing other than "Que paso?" or some shit. You know what I mean? We don't even when they even if the block is 50-50, black folks over here, Mexicans over there. Even in the gang stuff. Like I know cats that bang, and some of your black gang members, I know on one hand they talk about all the harassment. On the other hand, what they don't talk about much is I know cats from black gangs that can go over to the Mexican side of town and hide out. If it's some beef going on between the black gangs, I know some folks that they can go over to where the Mexicans are because black people and Mexicans don't mingle and they can cool out on the Mexican side of town and vice versa. I know cats from different hoods out here that it's some Mexican homies that they knew got in some issues. They can come over to the black hood and hide out for a little bit because again, we don't really mingle like that. And so now they're trying to put that lie out there that Mexicans helped co-invent this style with black folks. Let's talk about that. And if y'all want to speak, raise your hand. I'll bring you up here. Um, so how it worked? They put that picture of Easy E up there. First off, for those of you who were around in the early '90s, we used to laugh at Easy E for still having a Jerry curl in '93. You remember Cube was talking about them? By the time that Predator, by the time '92 came around, '91 came around, really, '91, only the gangsters had Jerry curls. '92. If a nigga still had a Jerry curl and Lokes in '92, '93, that nigga was a thug. And now you didn't crack jokes on the niggas because you didn't want them to shoot you. Yeah, they can wear that shit. Cause what was a little joking like nigga like me gonna say? I'm not trying to get shot over a joke. But by the time it gets 92, '93, that whole Easy E style what we see in the Jumbotron, we moved on past that. We're not dressing like that. As you get the gangsters dressing like that in some ways, but even the gangsters are moving on. The flannels, by the time you get to '94, '95, the flannels are done. Part of the running joke in the movie Friday, when Debo was wearing the flannel buttoned all the way to the top, that was like a running joke in the movie because it was like, oh, look at this nigga Debo dressed like a Mexican. That's what we was saying when Friday came out. Like, why is Debo dressed like a Mexican? But we all knew, everyone from Black Hill they knew that that was a running joke because it's like it was always a gangster dude that was dressed outdated. What we call dressed like a Mexican is anybody who basically was looking corny and outdated. That's what we call dressed like a Mexican out here on the West Coast. If that was an insult. If we say you're dressed like a Mexican, you're wearing the fashion of 4 or 5 fashions ago, seasons ago fashion. That's not a good thing to be associated with being dressed like a Mexican within Black America, especially during the '90s. And when we said dress like a Mexican, it's not like the Mexicans were even like the Mexicans out here at the time. When you see Easy E in the plaid shirt and the Raider cap and the low glasses, the Mexicans were wearing them long ass socks up to the knees with big ass shorts, and they'd have a tank top on and a plaid shirt. And oftentimes the Mexicans, what they would do is they would button the top button and leave the rest of the buttons open. And as black folks, we laugh at that shit like, oh, these niggas over here. They didn't dress like us. What they did was went on, as time went on, they started appropriating more and more of how we dress. same way they've always done. Going back to the zoot suits, we were wearing zoot suits in the 20s and 30s. They started wearing them in the 40s and the 50s, and so on and so forth. They always dress like shit that we stopped fucking with 10 years ago, and now they over here trying to make these goddamn articles talking about Mexicans and black people created the West Coast hip hop style. So that's what we're talking about. If y'all want to talk, please raise your hand. But right now, I got my man Twizzle up. Twizzle, I know what you know what I know you know what I'm talking about. What you think about this whole thing that's saying that LA Mexicans create West Coast hip hop style? You there, Twizzle?
Oh yeah, I'm here, man. I was on the phone. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know one thing about how they talk about the West Coast, they only have images in their brain that they project, and they assume amongst themselves, but they haven't been out here to see it. Because I'm up north, so they think all California the same, and it's like it's different. Up here up north, we never wore khakis. One thing about California is we're out. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, he wore Levi's. His fit was Levi's, black Nike Cortez, in the black. I mean, in the Jean Carter jacket. You know what I'm saying? Because we wore in the '80s, the number one fit. Because when NWA came out, they fit was Levi jeans and a fucking derby jacket. You know what I'm saying? And what we used to do, we used to put our numbers and we used to put our block on the back. Because up here we had blocks. You know what I'm saying? So we used to put 10th Street or 8th Street on the back with West Oakland on the front on the patch. You know what I'm saying? That was our style. So we never really I mean, I don't understand how could they have the audacity to say that we assimilated to their culture when them motherfuckers is too busy hiding in the shadows. You know what I'm saying? They was too busy just trying to get by. They too busy trying to creep and shit. We were the trendsetters because, like I said, in the '80s, that's when rap music really kicked in. That's when, like I say, Too Short's knocking down doors. Easy E came in, cruising down the street in my 6'4". You know what I'm saying? Because back in the days, the number one fit was D boys was wearing sweatsuits. You know what I'm saying? They was wearing Adidas, Fila, Lee Sport T. You know what I mean? They had all kind of sweatsuits that niggas was wearing because that was the style. And that's a come. I remember when the game and rap music changed when it went from like the crazy old wild shit to where they started dressing like dudes on the street. I'll never forget that. I'm like, these niggas started dressing like niggas on the street, and that's where they started. That's when the hip hop culture really took off because it got the street culture. You know what I'm saying? Understand, and all due to the East Coast, I can't relate on how them niggas get down in Brooklyn, Harlem, Manhattan, and none of that shit because I never been there. So we get down here on the West Coast, our style, our fashion, our way of talk, or how we talk, our lingo. They can't understand that shit. But I know one thing for sure, two things for certain. When we do it, they adapt to it. Cause I know when my nigga, my OG homeboy Champ started the Fashizi and the Versace, when he started that, next thing you know, you got niggas in New York saying this shit. You got Method Man and Redman saying this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I can show you the OG nigga who started this shit. He started it off with Versace. Then for Sheezy, what's up, man? Yes, indeed, for Sheezy, because out here we say for show. Yes, indeed, you good for show. And for show went from Versace to for Sheezy. The next thing you know, it took off like a motherfucking thing. Shit, we one thing about us niggas up here in Oakland, we more famous for our trends and style than we is for our rappers and actors. You know what I'm saying? That's how we get down out here. So, you know, one thing for sure, like my partner always say, don't worry about what people saying about you or talking about you. Worrying about what they not talking about you and what they saying about you. Because if they talking about us, we're doing something good. When they ain't talking about us, that means we irrelevant. That means we got work to do. So what I say is, West Coast, we gonna keep doing what the fuck we doing because we on our own shit. And I don't give a fuck what they say on how it started. It's all about how you finish.
Hey
And on the
Twizzle,
West Coast, it ends here.
hey Twizzle, I'm gonna let
Yes,
you.
indeed.
I wanna have a back and forth with you on this. I was hoping you came up in this room because I wanted you to stay up here for a little while if you got time. Because I know you know because you up there in the Bay. Um, yeah. Here's what I was thinking, man. Because like I'm glad you brought up that point about how in the Bay niggas dress different. Hell, LA niggas, we be kind of like in the '90s. We always in the 2000s. I used to have a joke when I first started. I don't really say it that much anymore. But when I first started comedy in 2010, I used to have a joke where you could tell when a nigga moved to San Bernardino, because all them niggas that moved to San Bernardino and out that way, just like the year they left LA. So in 2001, You still had
You
niggas that
be
was
you
wearing
good, dude? You
khakis
having
and corporate
connection
stacks.
issues?
Oh shit, I'm having connection issues. Well, I'm over here. Can y'all hear me and everyone else, or is it just Twizzle? Can y'all hit an emoji if y'all can hear me clear? Hit an emoji if y'all can hear me clear, or something like that. Um, let's see here. Okay, Nicole, you say I'm good. Okay, cool. So so yeah, going back into it, we here in the West Coast, we had our own in LA is varying styles. I forgot where I was going about. This is where I want to go with it. It's always varying style. Like they're trying to make it seem as if there's a monolith blanket West Coast hip hop style of dress. No, that was the gangster style of dress. Cats that wasn't in the gangster stuff, especially in the early '90s. Remember the gangster niggas and the party niggas dressed different. You know, remember early '90s. You know, was when you still had them hot colored electric suits Cats was wearing. Cats was still wearing hip hop niggas was still wearing the suits in the early '90s. Let's not forget it. Go back and watch Class Act. Go back and watch House Party. Both of them movies was filmed right here in LA. And party niggas dressed like that. And the gangster niggas dressed a little bit different. It wasn't until like when you get to the late '90s, mid '90s, as you get to the mid '90s, they started like not re-signing the party rappers and basically only signing the gangster style rappers as you get into the late '90s. But even then, the style of dress had changed because in LA, when you get to '96, '97, '95, now you're bringing in the Hill Figure era. Out here, '96, I remember what it was, man. You had some Tommy Hilfiger, Nautica, and Polo. Those was the three in the mid '90s in LA. You had Nautica, and that was the hip hop style. You go back and look at some of the you know, some of the videos because the gangster style had gotten so much the police was kicking our asses out here. So any nigga that was wearing a starter jacket, niggas that was wearing plaid shirts, the police was just fucking with you on sight. And if the police wasn't fucking with you, other niggas was fucking with you. So that whole gangster dress, by the time you get 96, 97, niggas is wearing Tommy Hilfiger and will beat your ass. Niggas was putting on gangsters went real incognito in the late '90s. Hilfiger and they was wearing glasses too. The cats was wearing clear glasses and non-prescription clear glasses to kind of have what niggas was calling like a more preppy look. And the most gangster niggas out here was doing it. And then as you get into the early 2000s, the thing and late '90s into the early 2000s, the white t-shirt thing got real big. Why did the white t-shirt thing get real big? Because when niggas was wearing Hilfiger and Polo, they was getting jacked for all that shit. And when niggas was wearing Saucony's kind of came in the shoes because cats was getting jacked for their Jordans. So cats started wearing Saucony's. And then as you get into the white t-shirt days, when niggas was getting jacked for their Hilfiger and all the more expensive stuff, they started wearing white t-shirts as a way because I went to Westchester High. And when the Westchester niggas was catching the bus, when we get to Inglewood, all them Inglewood High niggas will be sitting right there at the Market Street exit, and they come up on that back door, and all them Westchester niggas is coming on that back door, 20 Inglewood High niggas to 2 Westchester High niggas, taking their shoes, taking their clothes, taking their chains. We used to tell niggas, like, look, man, put that Tommy Hilfiger away, put that chain away, because when we get to the Market Street exit, the Inglewood niggas is gonna come ready, ransacking, and that's what it was. Why am I bringing this up? That was 10 years after this East Coast style, this Easy East style, NWA style that this whoever this was that wrote this goddamn article was talking about Mexicans and black people creating the style together. That's why we always fucking these people up. And if y'all want to say something, raise your hand. That's why we always fucking these people up because we keep changing. These other groups don't evolve until they catch on to something that we do. So for them, conceptually, of course, there's a hip hop style because they'll dress these other groups. They'll have a certain way that they dress from the time that they born to 20 some odd years old, and the style never changed the whole time. The same shit they saw their big brothers wearing, they wore. Whereas black folks, style changes every year subtly, but every 3 to 4 years, you notice a big change in how we dress. It changes yearly subtly, but you notice the changes on a bigger level every 3 to 4 years because we expansive like that. And so you get these other people running their mouth, putting their cultural point of view on how we get down. Nigga, I'm insulted on the fact that this motherfucker think that West Coast hip hop style is some shit niggas did for a handful of years, 30 fucking years ago. That's insulting alone. Twizzle, you was up in the Bay, brother. What was the dress like as you got into the late 90s and the 2000s?
Yes, indeed. You right what you said because in late early like from 9-9, no, from 9-5 to like 9-7, you was Tommy Hilfiger, Polo, and like you said, Nautica. Then people started wearing, you know what I'm saying, the one with the tiger on it and all that. But then our style was shit, kind of like we was our style of dress was saucy. When you was fly, you was saucy. You know what I'm saying? It all started with your shoes. You know what I mean? If you didn't have no nice shoes on, women talk about you so goddamn bad to where the next day you're gonna have a nice pair of white ones on. You know what I'm saying? And I know in the late '90s, like around '98, it was that was the end of that. And like you said, that's when High Boys came out, and that's when everybody started wearing the white tees. We've been wearing white tees because we had a t-shirt spot up there. We used to call them crispy whites. You know what I'm saying? We'd go up there, you white for $4 and a pair of socks. So you can get a crispy white and a pair of socks for $5. That's how it was back
We
then.
used to get
A
them.
lot of
We used to get
niggas was
them
living
white.
out that motherfucker.
We used to get them hoes 4 or 5 at a time because the minute a dent, kind of dinge or anything got up on that motherfucker,
Oh
you had
my
to get
God,
rid.
drop a blunt on
Right?
it, drop some ashes on it, or you bump it. Or the worst, hey, the worst is you hug a female, she put some lipstick on your shirt, then you go home with it. You know how many times I got cussed out because of that shit, bro. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. And I know in the 2000s, that's when the sweatsuits came out. That's when Puffy came out with Bad Boy. He had the velour sweatsuits. It used to be the store up here to where I used to buy it, and they had this East Coast store. It was called Bad Boys. I used to fuck with these dudes from Connecticut. I used to have the Nietzsche, the Miyoshi, 555 Soul, you know what I'm saying? Pure player. I used to have like, you got to be saucy, bro. Here, like I say, we in the game up here, and when you make it look good doing it, you know what I'm saying? And up here,
And
everybody
my
up here
nigga,
rolling, and our
mhm,
beef up here. Let me just get this off. Our beef up here was East Side, West Side. Our OG squashed that shit because we was making everybody doing business. So if you funking, you can't do business. So niggas was getting fly. Then women start dressing too. Then when y'all going out to meet up at our side shows, like how y'all meet up on Crenshaw and shit like that. When we met up at our side shows, nigga, you had to be fly to get a female. I remember when we was teenagers. Do you remember Don B? The starter cap and the t-shirt, the college con, when UNLV was the shit, everybody used to walk around with UNLV hats and the t-shirts, then Georgetown, the Georgetown hat and t-shirt. Remember those days? You know what I'm saying? We had
see,
a lot of
no,
styles. Go
y'all.
ahead.
See, I remember one sitting that we couldn't do the UNLV and the Georgetown. UNLV was red, and I forgot what hood had you. 'Cause that was shit hood UNLV. I forgot what hood was that. Was it geared? I forget one UNLV. So yeah, no. But I remember seeing people from the outside of South Central doing that in California. Um,
Dude,
do
California,
you
when
do you
UNLV,
remember as we got to hip hop? Mm, do you remember when we got to like the late to mid 2000s? That's when niggas was into the Ed Hardy shirts. The gangsters niggas was wearing Ed Hardy. Them
Ed Hardy was the beginning of the
them
tight
fitted. I call it
jeans.
yeah the fitted. I call it the fitted fuckboy look. That's that's that. But again, them niggas will shoot your ass if you say something. So it just goes ahead to show that like we are always evolving. Then the skinny thing, it was real baggy jeans in the early 2000s, and then the skinny jeans as you get into when Dwayne Wade brought that when the Dwayne Wade started was the first one wearing them little ass coochie cutters in there. We should have known something back then. I didn't want to think nothing because that nigga was a cold nigga on that court. You know what I mean? Motherfucker had that Euro step back game line. I'm watching basketball right now. Like Dwayne Wade was balling. And when he came in with them yeast infection cutters around his like, hey, brother, we should have known something back in. We should have known something back then. But that's what goes just go ahead and show you that. Like we as a people, we're constantly evolving, constantly moving. Our culture's constantly shifting, just like our music. When they try to say, we was there and they contributed something, first off, you didn't contribute a damn thing that wasn't already there. But just say for some weird ass reason you did contribute one thing in 1983. Nigga, by 1988, we was on something totally different. And whatever that little drop of contribution you did in 1983, Crazy Legs was on to the next thing. And we had been on to the next thing for 2 or 3 years, but we 2 or 3 years removed from being on to the next thing. That's the aspect of our culture that we got to really understand when we having these conversations. The reason why I like having these Twitter spaces, y'all, because it's to expand the conversation. Because like for us, we go real deep. We do ourselves a disservice by going back and forth and fighting on the beach in the sand with these niggas. Nah, we gotta take they want to fight, nigga. Let's go into the water and fight. Let's go. Let's keep going deep. Let's expand the conversation. Okay, what did you bring? When did you bring it? And how does that thing that you brought play now? Now, I'll tell you what people like Luke brought and these tethers brought to our music. They brought a blatant oversaturation and disrespect of our women. They brought in when you see Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, they brought in this hella old ratchet, not respectable form of music because Queen Latifah wasn't rapping like that. Even the Brat, we knew the Brat on Funkify. We didn't care. Nigga, Funkify was cool than the motherfucker. We was like, man, the Brat is dope. And she looked like she'd beat Jermaine Dupri's ass. Did on a Funkify video? I was like, man, she beat that little nigga's ass. We knew Queen Latifah was probably a lesbian on Living Single. I'm like, man, I know why you ain't married Scooter. You ain't married Scooter because nigga, you really want Regine. We knew that. But it wasn't about all that. It really wasn't about that. It was about music. It was about the music. We didn't care that Dana Owens, you know, uh, probably uh, munched all the carpet in Hollywood. We didn't care. It would be a joke like, oh yeah, you know, Queen Latifah, yeah. Especially when that UNITY video came out when she was like, I put some dead desire and said, calling up. We was like, oh yeah, yeah. She definitely a lesbo. We didn't give the Brat.
ADV.
Go ahead. Let me get the John
I
Horse.
knew
Go
she
ahead.
was a lesbian. I knew she was a lesbian on My Buddy, the My Buddy video. She the only female in there with a fucking hot top fade. She look her in the back over there looking like Vanilla Ice or motherfucking Dirk Nowitzki and shit. It is still me. Yeah, man. Hey, it keep kicking me out, man. It keep saying that your shit is losing connection, and it keep kicking me out, man.
I don't know what the hell. Is everyone else good? Cause shit, I don't know. It hit the emoji, y'all. Y'all good? I know Nicole said she good. Let me see. I don't know what that is, but either way it go, yeah. Everybody else said they good, but whatever happened, bro, we bring you right back up in here. I see. I got John Horse in here with his hand up. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, what's good, man? Yeah, man, these articles that's coming out, bro, talking about these folks like creating our style and shit, bro, is just crazy, bro. At this point, they just trolling us. Um, I can speak, for myself and a lot of other black men when I say that, nigga, I've never gotten my style from any Latino or what I'm saying, any African or Caribbean for that matter, bro. I've never gotten my style from nobody from that side, bro. None, absolutely none. And one thing, like you was just saying about our style, bro, our style constantly innovates. It constantly changes. If you look at like how a lot of the Latinos dress, even when it comes to the zoot suits have stayed the same. When they started rocking the zoot suits have not changed. Those things they still look the way that they did back when. They have not changed. But if you look at a lot of black men now and how we wear our suits are like way more fitted and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? even with a lot of the streetwear that you see a lot of the Mexican cats wear, bro, their style is like stuck in the 90s. It's like it's either stuck in the 40s, stuck in the 90s, and then now you see a lot of the young cats, bro. They're virtually, you know what I'm saying, they just copying what they see in a bunch of black American dudes doing now. So, when it comes to style and fashion, bro, like we've always been in the forefront of it, and we make, you know what I'm saying, we set trends. So this whole thing about us starting, everything 50-50 and influencing rappers and all of that, you can't have a group of people who assimilate into white supremacy. you know you can't have our style assimilating into white supremacy. It's just impossible, because our culture
And
alone.
they
Go ahead, go ahead.
corny, like their whole style, we've always seen it. You're right, they always do what we do 10, 15 years later. And then once they come up with that twist, whatever change they come up with, I mean, whatever change we come with that we came up with that they copy, they don't copy they don't copy the next 10 to 15 changes that we make. They find that thing that we do, and this with all the cultures, this with white folks, this with everybody, Asians. They find that pocket that of us of what we do that makes them comfortable, that they can rock, that they can afford or whatever, and they stay there for a decade plus. Decade plus. We can't like look, man. If you still wear if you people how many I'm not even that into fashion. I'm the kind of person I don't give a fuck about fashion. I just gotta be clean. I don't, I don't do all the extra shit when it comes to dressing. I know when to clean up and do extra stuff, but I really don't get into all the extra shit when it comes to dressing. Um, but even with that being said, you don't keep the same jeans in your closet you had 5, 6, 7 years ago, because the style is totally changed. The fit, the cut, everything. And this is coming from people like me who don't even give a fuck. Just my blackness in me. I can't be walking around in no 2009, 2007 cut baggy jeans. And I definitely ain't walking around in no goddamn 2015 cut no jeans and little skinny nutcracking ass jeans. It's just something that keeps changing, like the style, the cut of the shirts, the cut of the jackets, the style, the colors. It's just one of those things where we even the least people who care the least about fashion. Hell, my sweat. I like wearing sweats. Hell, the cut of the sweats changed. 3 years ago, sweats was more that little skinny cut where it's grabbing your ankle at the bottom. Now, thank God, finally the sweats are getting back to where they looser fitting. Because from like 2018, 2017 to like 2021, man, oh God, them sweats was looking real. I call them real yeasty, just real, yeah, nah. And so
Exactly.
that's we, so when other groups, yeah, these other groups want to come around and be like, we contributed this. Okay, what year? And how does it play out today? Because it's a guaranteed goddamn T. If it's still around now, it don't look nothing like it did when they wear it.
Exactly. And
Facts.
I can remember, bro, like even for me, even being from where I'm from South Carolina, I remember, you know what I'm saying, with my uncles and shit, bro, they used to wear the tall white tees and shit, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And of course, bro, we was in the hood, but niggas would be fresh. I mean, you wouldn't see a speck of dirt on their shoes. White tees would just be always crisp, everything like that, bro. Like they jeans would be fresh, everything would be fresh, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like I always say, bro, our culture is a part of resistance. So, these people cannot you can't assimilate into white supremacy and then come on the scene talking about, you know what I'm saying, you come from a culture of resistance. It's just impossible. You know what I'm saying? It don't work. Especially when it comes to hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop is anti-white supremacy. And these groups assimilate into white supremacy. So how the hell did they come on the scene talking about they created something? Like you said, what did they create? They're too busy sitting there trying to assimilate into white supremacy. It's so bad, hell, Dwan, if you look at a lot of the white dudes in the prison system, bro, out there, a lot of them trying to look like the Mexicans. A lot of the Mexicans, you know what I'm saying, they shave their heads. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that you see that they do. They shave their heads. Why? Because they roll with the Aryans.
They call them Nazi lowriders.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the Nazi lowriders. Yep, yep. Real talk. That's a good point. I want to move on to the next person. This is Donnie Links. Go ahead, brother.
You're still gonna bring this for tomorrow, right? Oh yeah, I get it for you, babe. The one. Oh, hello.
Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, what's going on, man? I'm over here watching the Lakers, man. Watching them two foreigners, man. Work our Lakers. I don't know if you cool with the Lakers or not, but I love that's my team, Bron and them. But
I'm gonna
any
let
old way.
get LeBron the fuck out of here. But go ahead.
Okay, I understand that. I understand that. I understand. I know 24 all day. But I was going to say, man, did you watch the fight, the Canelo fight when he fought
Yeah, I saw
Charlo?
that shit. I saw that when Charlo bitch ass back down, but and Canelo bitch ass fought somebody two weight divisions smaller. But go ahead.
Facts. But just speaking about how they love our styles, did you see the two Mexican rappers he was with?
Yeah, I saw it looking like a greasing cross, nigga.
Yeah, man. I just had to note that right there. And another thing, man, y'all was talking about Nicki Minaj. Y'all was talking about Nicki Minaj and what's the old girl named Cardi B, right? I would call them they're ratchet, man, but they're not ghetto. What's Sexy Red and what's the old girl name, man? The Suki Hana.
Yeah.
They're ghetto, man. They're ghetto ratchet.
I look
I,
at
I
that.
think
I look at that as tomato.
are you serious? You think so?
Ghetto, ratchet. It's all lower forms of behavior, and every group has its lower forms. We ain't the only one. Every group.
Yeah, fact. Look, that's what I'm trying to say. You got two Caribbeans, more or less, two people from an island. You know what I'm saying? They got theirs, but I'm just saying they got more money, man. I think they're real far away from being ratchet compared to those two. I could see them walking around my neighborhood, man. Well, my old neighborhood, any old way. You know what I'm saying?
Walking
You know what I'm
around,
saying?
and you're like, they are. I look at this all the same. I'm not gonna split hairs over the underbelly of society. But it's they're the dregs of our society, and every group has its dregs that it has to deal with. Those are the ones that we got to deal with. The Suki Hanas and the Cardi and the what's her names, Sexy Reds, and then the immigrant got to deal with the dregs like Cardi B in their society, which unfortunately get dumped on us and shit. Um, but either way it goes, I don't fuck with them, and they're pushed out and promoted by the white supremacists. The white supremacists, every group has their version of Cardi B, their version of Suki Hana, and plenty of them too. Not one or two. They got them by the shipload. But when it comes to ours, they're the ones who get the mic. They're the ones who get the contracts. They're the ones who get the attention because that's the situation that we're in. But going back to this whole Mexican shit, and I'm gonna get to you different. What's up, FBA Empress? And everyone else, if you feel like speaking, come on up here. And if you've spoken, I'm gonna drop you back down. Keeping Twizzle up because Twizzle, I'm bouncing off him, well, with his Bay Area connection because it's a West Coast heavy. Um, but so if you want to speak, put your hand up. But and I'm gonna get to you different. Going back to the title of the room, no, LA Mexicans did not co-create, help create, or do anything to create West Coast hip hop style. They glammed on to an era of our style from the early 90s, late 80s, and they still fucking dress like that. Even though, hell, Tupac was the epitome of gangster in LA in 1995. Did you ever see Tupac dressing like that? Like, how was Tupac dressed in the "I Ain't Mad at You" video? You know what I mean? So even Tupac had now they draw and thing in the article they said the whole rag thing was Mexican. No, what happened was after Tupac wore his rag that way and took pictures with his rag that way, Mexicans liked it a generation later, not even right away, because back then Mexicans in the mid-90s when Tupac was alive, the gangsters was still combing their hair backwards and they was wearing hairnets. Let me say it again. Am I lying, Twizzle? When
Hell no, you wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Mexicans had to remember
Because
Mexicans
our
would
we
have
was
like
wearing bandanas because we what we call it, ancient mama style. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Yeah, we been
hey,
way before the motherfuckers.
hey Twizzle.
Shit.
I don't know if the Mexicans, if you saw, but I remember out here the Mexican homie would always have these little combs that kind of fit in the
Yeah,
palm of
the
their hand.
comb. Yeah, they had the
It
little
would fit.
hand comb to comb that
Yeah,
shit straight. They always wear the slick back.
yeah,
Then they
because like
put the hairnet on with a white
yep,
t-shirt, some
yep,
baggy ass
yep,
khakis that they wore past their belly button
yep,
with some Nike Cortez or Chuck Taylors on. You know what I'm
yep.
saying? That's what they
Exactly.
wore. But that was their style. They wore their pants above their belly like they was wearing zoot suits and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and that was the thing. I remember looking at I remember they would come out. I remember the Mexican homie. His name was Jaime. I remember Jaime. You saw his kind of like I see him like moving his hair back, and I'm like, "Why you keep touching your hair?" He's like, "No, Holmes, it's a comb." And I look, and he opened the palm of his hand. I'm like in the seventh grade. He opened the palm of his hand. He's like, "Yeah, it's a comb," and he combed that shit back and put a hairnet on. That's what they was doing when we was wearing rags. Well, not we when the I was never a gangster nigga. When the gangster niggas was wearing rags, the Mexicans was wearing hairnets. So let's not get it twisted. They didn't pick up that whole Tupac aesthetic until you get into the 2000s, and I mean mid 2000s too. I ain't even talking about 2000. I'm talking about 2004, 2005, when niggas is on to the last that last era of baggy jeans, that last couple years of baggy jeans and really big shirts. That's when the Mexicans got into the Tupac aesthetic and Tupac style. Um, go ahead, different.
Hey yo, the one, what's up? Like, far as with this shit, the main thing funny about it is, it's like it's some of them that's even calling it out themselves. Cause this one Mexican dude, I don't know if you've seen it, but he said all Mexican rappers suck. Like a dude online was literally saying that they all trash, that they trying to imitate, trying to be black and all that. I don't know the specific video, but it's a dude. He from Phoenix and he Mexican, and he was just basically calling it out, saying that y'all trying to imitate black culture. So it be a lot of them that knows like exactly like the shit they trying to do and all that. Far as with far as with that. But far as that rag thing, that's new. I didn't know that they trying to lie about that because they definitely got that from Tupac. Because there's even some Mexicans that said that they got that bandana thing from what the Bloods and the Crips was doing. So it's just weird to me that they trying to do that now. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's the whole. You're dealing with groups of people that are dealing with identity issues. See, it's black folks. A lot of times we be having it twisted. Like we be thinking we the only ones that a lot of the shit uh too often. We be thinking we the only ones. Like these, we ain't the only ones that was raised. These motherfuckers was raised Catholic. It wasn't no goddamn Catholicism over here in the Western Hemisphere before 1492. That shit got put up on them. Spanish is not their language. You know what I mean? Mexico, they like, oh, California was Mexico first. Nigga, that shit was Mexico for like a little more than a decade. Fuck out of here. It wasn't even California for a whole generation. This was this was native land. It was Chumash. It was Ohlone. It was Mojave. It was native land. And then the Spanish conquerors came in, put up a whole bunch of fucking missions, made them all speak Spanish, um, made them get rid of their native cultural identity. And basically, they were not marched to no fucking Mexico. The ones in Mexico been in Mexico. You know what I mean? No, 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 all that shit. Don't interrupt me.
Oh, oh,
They
I'm sorry
weren't.
about that.
They weren't in. They weren't part of none of that. They wherever the fuck they are in Mexico is where the fuck they were 500, 600 years ago. They didn't get pushed down there. They got forced. They changed their language to Spanish, and then when the black man when Gasper Yanger got the Spanish up off them. They didn't acknowledge him. They still don't barely acknowledge Gasper Yanger for getting the Spanish for getting the Spanish out of them and getting them to where they have their own independent state. They still don't acknowledge Vicente Guerrero, the black second president of Mexico that outlawed slavery for good, and then the mulatto motherfuckers killed him. Like, it was only Mexico for like one fucking generation, if that. This was native land. Mexico had it for a couple years, and then the United States came in and whooped their asses in a war. You lost the war 200 fucking years ago. Y'all lost that war before the Confederates lost the Civil War. You lost. If you want it back, come get it back. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what happened. And so but what happened is you'll get these weak ass niggas that'll be like, how many times have y'all hit an emoji out there if you heard some weak ass nigga come around talking about something? Man, this used to be Mexico, by the way. How many times have you heard a weak ass nigga say that? And it's like, well, if you don't sit your ass down, nigga, come on. And so that's what we up against. We're dealing with people who have their own cultural identity crisis going on. They have their own cultural identity crisis going on. That's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing so since they just like the Jamaicans want to go around and say that they claim hip hop, and these motherfuckers don't. And then the Jamaicans, they got it so bad. They talk about, well, the steel drum is theirs, nigga. The steel drum is theirs either. That's from Trinidad. Y'all got that shit from Trinidad, but they gotta feel something. Puerto Ricans gotta feel something because all of the music out of the Caribbean comes out of Cuba. Cuba's the place. Cuba and Trinidad are the places where the music comes from out of the Caribbean. Everybody else got to stand really, and Cuba and Trinidad is way further back. But you don't get more music out of Trinidad and Cuba than you will Puerto Rico and Jamaica. You know what I mean? And so you're dealing with groups of people who don't have, according to, I'm not saying they don't have wins on the board, but they don't know the wins whatever wins that they have culturally, they don't know. They don't understand their own self. They're indoctrinated, so they got to grasp onto something because they've been told that they better than these niggas. That's what their mamas told them. That's what their uncles told them. I used to work with these Mexicans when I was working with kids. It was this Mexican family I was working with. They stayed in they stayed in a studio apartment in downtown LA that's since been knocked down, condemned. But they stayed in it right before it got condemned. It was it was two adults, a newborn baby, a 3-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 23-year-old, and his girlfriend standing in what is the equivalent to most of you niggas' living room, and then a side little kitchen over there and a side little bathroom closet. And you know what that boy told me? He was after I had been working with him for a couple months, he was like, "Dwan, you cool." Because my mom told me never to become cool with black people. And these motherfuckers lived in a little what everyone in here with the size of your living room was the size of their whole motherfucking crib with 7 people living up in there. And they're telling that boy he should never become cool with black people. I later on found out that Mexican boy was molested by one of his mom was molested by a family friend, and his mom didn't say nothing. She knew who it was and didn't do nothing about it. So these motherfuckers, these be the people that we dealing with right here. You know what I mean? And so that's what it is. When you don't know yourself, you don't have anything to deal with, to be proud of according to yourself, not according to me. According to yourself, you ain't got nothing to be proud of. Because if you did have something to be proud of, you wouldn't be glamming on what the fuck I did. But you don't have shit to be proud of, and you act like these niggas that your own mama, your daddy, your cousins and uncles been telling you better than, and then the socially suggested messages being thrown out through media, through TV, is telling the world that you better than these niggas. So you got to come around with these motherfucking lies. But it's up to us to say, fuck your little mental trauma. I don't give a damn about your pain. I don't care how you feel. Hands off our culture. You didn't create shit. What's up? And I got Tracy Cakes in down there, Westchester High School, the homie from high school in the chat. What's up? Um, but I want a different. Finish off what you gotta say real quick. Then I'm gonna get on the coon killer. Make it quick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, bro. The only thing that I was gonna say was not like, and plus, like, not only that, it comes to this culture vote shit. It's even some people like it's some music head cats out there who's like white and all that that's even calling this out. I think I sent you the link in your message box for you to check it out. But it's some white dude that's debunking a lot of this, saying that it didn't start with the Jamaicans or the Latinos. Like he's mainly like because he's mainly trying to debunk the Jamaicans, saying that it didn't come from y'all. It came from Black Americans. It came from them listening to like the job talks and all them what they were making back in the day, them job talking albums where they was rapping, like Bullhorn from Black Dynamite. It came from that. So he was basically breaking that down because he said like he started doing his research and he started finding that
I'm
it didn't
gonna
come
go
from them.
ahead,
Hmm?
I'm gonna go ahead and look it up. I want to get on to the next
All right, bro.
person, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and look.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're gonna have to. Yeah, a lot of people are coming out and saying stuff, but I don't want to get too early. I want to get other people speaking. Hey, Twizzle, I want to check in with you real quick before I go on the coon killer. What you got to say about that, man?
I kind of missed it. I was over here doing something right quick. What'd he say?
That's all good. Now we move on. I just want to see if you had something. I'll get you at the coon killer.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, coon killer.
All right, brother Dewan, it's great that you made this because a couple months back I was thinking, well, it's great that the Mexicans ain't trying to do this shit like the Puerto Ricans because most of them don't have that amount of Afro blood. So I said they're not gonna dare try that. You can't find no early innovators in West Coast hip hop. I can't think of none. I don't, shit. What Kid Frost and Larazzo was that 92? So I mean, I don't think that they didn't have any cultural relevance in West Coast hip hop whatsoever. And then I've actually had this conversation with a Mexican friend of mine, and he tried to bring in the lowriding aspect. And I said, well, granted, it could lowriding may be a thing that was created. It was really created by a white guy, but whatever. It's some culture that Hispanics did a little bit more. But who made it relevant? 75 war. Who made that shit relevant? Who made people want to drop in a 6-4? They nobody wanted to do it until the black man did it anyway. So if you want to bring in some car bullshit and try to talk about lowriders, they ain't got nothing to do with our music.
The part, even the lowrider thing. My dad was part of that culture in the early '70s out here in LA, and he wasn't even first generation. He started growing up as a child. We as black folks, we had as black folks, we had our own style. Like we couldn't back in the days we couldn't buy new cars. So the culture of um the culture of fixing up your car, the culture of tricking it out came because black people they wouldn't sell new cars to black people for a time. So we take cars and take parts and put them together and trick them out. A lot of our culture comes of really just us being denied shit. And it's us saying, you know what? All right, you gonna deny us this? Cool. We gonna do this. We gonna funk it out over here. You know. And so, that is where a lot of that stuff comes from. And then, did they have a lowrider scene? I'm sure they did over on the east side of town. But in LA, the Mexicans, especially when you're dealing with the '70s, they're a small uh, percentage of them in different pockets, way far away from black folks. Black folks was in our own world in the '70s. My dad can go he can go all goddamn year without seeing a Mexican in 1971, in 1972, when he had that Riviera he always talked to me about and be showing me pictures of in the photo albums. So whatever Mexicans were doing in LA at the time with their cars, they weren't interacting with us. We were on completely opposite sides of town. And then, like the point I'm gonna let you finish your point, Coon Killer. Um, then what Coon Killer is talking about when he said when he started talking about the Mexicans in the music. Lowrider, their theme song is something that black people from Compton created. War is a black group from Compton. Yes, the new War band that tours the world has a bunch of Mexicans in it because what's his name? The founder, when he was sued and got the name, he knows Mexicans like the band, so he put Mexicans in the band to appeal to the fan base. But the original members of War, the ones who wrote and sang and performed Lowrider, were all black out of Compton. My dad used to go and be in their garage in the '60s when they were before they got their contract, when they would be in the band and rehearsing. So even when it comes down to the music, cruising down the street in my 6'4", even where show me the Mexican music where they talking about low riding. Show it to me. And then before that, you had the only other people that had a song talking about cruising, and it wasn't about low riding, but about cruising. That was some white boys by a group named the Rascals, cruising on a Sunday afternoon. Those were actually some white boys singing, of course, Black American soul. Can't forget what style of music they were singing. The Rascals was one of the first blue eyed soul white groups, and they had a song called "Cruising on a Sunday Afternoon." And then, well, you got Smokey Robinson. I love it when we're cruising together. All of the Mexican theme songs was created by us. I don't see them low riding. And or maybe I don't know. It could I don't know. It could be a song in Mexico in Spanish saying "dunch dunch dunch a la cinco y los otros y whatever that bullshit is. One of them songs could be a lowrider song. I don't know. All I hear is "dunch dunch dunch dunch" or "dunch dunch dunch." I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that should be lowrider. I don't know. But no, nigga, even when you break it down to the music, it's still our culture. And with everything that they doing, it ain't like we came around and learned it from them. We had our own motherfucking thing going. In the early '70s, you still can learn how to fix on a car in high school. It's not like now where you can't learn shit, no kind of trades. Black folks was graduating with trades back in the '70s. So us fixing up cars and low riding cars, niggas learned that kind of shit in high school back then. Let's tell the whole goddamn truth. Sincere, I see you in here. You the main reason why I got this goddamn title. So come on up here and speak if you can, Sincere. Um, because when you sent me this in my inbox on IG, that's what made me want to talk about. You sent this to me while I was getting ready to do a YouTube, so I did my YouTube topic on something else and started talking about this over here on Twitter Space because I want other people's point of view. But Coon Killer, I cut you off. Go ahead and finish off what you had to say, brother.
Well, yeah, you took the words basically out of my mouth because I was trying to make that point about war. But even now though, me growing up, and I'm from Compton, I had like Mexican friends where I couldn't even go in their house. They that was the first racism my experience actually came from Latinos. Now, not all of them were like that, but I wanted to say on the music scene, they've always been really behind. Like Mexican kids now listen to Tupac and Easy E now. Like it's where black kids are on what's trending now. You got a few Mexican kids try to follow the black kids and listen to what's trending, but for the most part, those little cholo kids, they still listening to Try Me by James Brown and shit. They're really stuck on all of our old music. You know that, Dwan.
Hey, it goes even deeper. I'm telling you something my sister was telling me. My sister's a teacher, and my sister, she'll be playing Jill Scott, Erica Badu, and she said when she's sitting in class, all the Mexican girls, that's all they know. They know every word to everything Jill Scott, Music Soul Child, Erica Badu, Anthony Hamilton, that whole neo soul sound of the late '90s into the early 2000s. That's what their mothers listen to and their parents. So a lot of the Mexican kids now, when the ones who don't listen to gangster rap, or they may listen to gangster rap, but the ones who listen to other forms of music, our Black American neo soul sound is a sound in a lot of these Mexican households. My sister told me that about 3 or 4 years ago. And then after that, this is like my last year back when I was still working with kids and working in South Central LA. I started paying closer attention to my Mexican clients and seeing what was going on. Black folks, these niggas is into Maxwell now. Like a lot of them. They into Alicia Keys. they're always 2 decades behind. So a lot of the boys, a lot of the ones that lean towards the street activity, they listen to Tupac and Eazy-E. They sisters are listening to Lauryn Hill. And they know those songs and those albums word for word, verbatim, song by song, note for note. That's how deep it is. And that's where it's going right now. They've gotten more current. They're now listening to music that was released in 2002. I'm gonna let you finish your point, Cool Killer, then I'm gonna get to the next person.
All right, go ahead, brother. I'm all finished.
All right, so Black Turner, it's on you.
Hey, what up? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. So, man, I've been in LA for a minute, man. I'm gonna tell you, Mexicans had zero influence in hip hop. They had what Lighter Shade of Brown. That was a radio push. Never played in the club. Never played in the skating ring. You had what Kid Frost. Never played in the club. Never played in the skating ring. You had Cypress Hill. They had skills, but their beats was, blacks wasn't really messing with it like that. Then you had what Rico Suave. He was corny. So, like I said, wasn't no influence like whatsoever. So that's a total lie. I'm gonna drop down, but that's all I had to say about it.
That's a good point. I'm glad I'm getting a lot of West Coast cats up here to talk about that. Um, for the other people, if you're from other parts of the country, I don't know what y'all got to say. For the most part, we've been having a West Coast conversation. Now I want to open it up to people from the other parts of the country. And if y'all got any questions or want to say something about this topic, because I'm speaking about this from from West Coast perspective. It's like no, 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 no. Y'all not about to do here in the West. We ain't gonna allow what the New Yorker niggas allow to happen with hip hop. When now, and I'm not saying all New York niggas, but Spike Lee's one of them. Spike Lee, that old hypocrite ass nigga. He straight up wrote those scenes, and Do the Right Thing, showing the racial and ethnic differences. Now I want to come out in the last 5 years and be like, we was all together. Fuck out of here, Spike Lee. So that's what we dealing with as a people. That right there is what we dealing with. We dealing with that. We dealing with these groups going around. We like all that whole something is a New York culture or something is a LA culture. Let me be the first to say as a Black American from LA. Yes, we do have LA culture. LA culture is Black American culture. It's just a Black American culture expressed because of that in a response to our immediate environment. Just like Oakland has a culture. Twizzle was talking up here earlier. Oakland has a culture that's distinctly different from LA culture, but it's still Black American culture. And we got to make sure that that is very clear that it's all still Black American culture. And so, um, we got to remember that it's Black American culture. We got like all that whole playing the dividing lines. My city is better than your city. My region is better than your city. I still be hearing all these niggas. I heard it on Twitter Space the other week. Everybody need to move down to the South. Let me tell you right now, hell motherfucking no. I ain't never moving no goddamn South. I'm staying here on the West. This is where the fuck my blood is. Where my family been since the 1930s. It's where the fuck I ain't about to leave. People like, it's too expensive. Well, nigga, I'll make more money. How about that? All the niggas I know that left LA to save money. All the niggas I know left LA to save money. They moved somewhere else, and in 5 years, the cost of living caught up to where it was when they was in LA. They done adjusted with the money that they're making where right now, and they right back in credit card debt like they was when they was here. It ain't how much you make, it's how much you spend. And I ain't about to run and leave to no fucking other part of the country just because it's cheaper. And I ain't about to move down south or move to the East Coast or move somewhere just because more Black people are there. Hell, I remember being in LA and if what good is it been around a whole bunch of Black people if 90% of them niggas ain't on code? You dig? So it ain't about region. Nigga, live what's comfortable for you. Whatever city, whatever region, whatever town, suits your lifestyle, if you're making bread, you getting what you want out of life where you at, be there. It ain't about that. Nigga, we Black American. Fuck all this regional beefing and regional this and we gotta do this and we gotta be the fuck all that shit. Nigga, we got an overall arching black culture that is so goddamn complicated. It expresses itself slightly different in every city that we in. Hell, even within the cities, them niggas that live out in fucking San Bernardino, they don't get down how us LA niggas get down. Hell, Pasadena. Pasadena is like what? 25-minute drive north. It's only 10. Pasadena's only 10 minutes north of downtown LA. But and when you in the hood, Pasadena's what, 25 with no traffic, 25 minutes from the hood? Pasadena niggas is weird. They ain't like us LA niggas. Us south of the 10 live near the 110 freeway niggas ain't way different than them passive aggressive ass Pasadena niggas. And Long Beach niggas be acting a little bit weird, but they cool. And you don't even want to deal with a nigga from the valley. Them niggas be thinking they white, but still want to be gangster. So we just had that kind of a culture, man, where we could be different within the same city. So these other groups really cannot grasp how diverse we are. But go ahead, Twizzle.
Hey, DB, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm on
sir.
the highway right now. I gotta go meet some folks. But yeah, you know up here about Oak. You know a little bit up here, right? You know about our side shows that we have up here, right? DB, have you ever
Yeah,
heard
I know.
about our side shows?
I know about them side shows. Them
Check this
niggas be
out.
wrecking cars and shit. Go ahead.
The Hispanics is trying to steal that from us. You know what I mean? Our side shows back in the days, it started in the '80s, where we used to meet up at Eastmount Mall because up here we rode high performance. You know, we'll get a 350 and bore that motherfucker out with a highly carburetor, Elderbrock manifold, MSD box, multi-distributor box with a performance coil and all that. You run it hard. So we used to build our engines up so at the side show we gonna see who can do the tightest donuts and who can do them for the longest. Now these motherfuckers up here, they have drift shows, bro. They don't do donuts. They just slide in circles doing straight drift shows. Like you say, tearing shit up, burning shit down, losing straight control over shit. When we had our side show, the only motherfuckers that got hurt was the niggas that was beefing in the street. And back then, the beef wasn't even that thick back then. You know what I'm saying? But these motherfuckers is really got the balls. And to me, I take it as disrespect because they got the gall to try to say they invented something that they got introduced to. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers is on a mission to steal black culture, saying they invented because that way they can have culture, but they can't take our shit because we finna fight for our shit, whether we have to spit for our shit or if we have to knuckle up and fight for this shit. We fighting for our culture, bro. I ain't giving this shit up so easy. As long as I'm living, I'm evidence and I'm proof of this shit. So I'm not going out that easy. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, DB.
Yes, real talk. I'm not going out that easy, man. You can't. You ain't about to just sit. Y'all like, nah. You're not about to sit here and take our shit because you don't feel good about what you done in life. No, sir. No, sir. And that's goes to show all that we in this together talk is a farce, is bullshit. All that black and brown coalition. Now you got that Mexican Nuri Martinez, the city council bitch that looked like Chuck E. Cheese over here that was kicking that took money out of black districts, got the tax this really depleted the tax revenue of Lamert Park in the area of LA my parents still fucking live in because you wanted USC to be rezoned to where all the Mexicans live. Even though USC is gentrifying the black neighborhood, the Mexicans made that move, taking money out of black pockets and making and according to them, on their leaked audio, did it based off of color lines and race. The Mexican Chuck E. Cheese looking bitch that was in the center of all this, she's now trying to cop please and play victim and play sympathy role. See, I don't use I use the word bitch appropriately. That's a bitch, and I'm talking about the low vibration form of the bitch. I ain't talking about the high vibration form. Our mother started serious. I'm talking about the worst thing to walk the motherfucking planet, Nuri Martinez. Look her up with her fucking Elvis wig she got on, trying to act, trying to act white, but her hair thick than a motherfucker. Trying to press her hair out, she ended up looking like an Elvis wig, and she want to go around displacing black people off of money based on color lines. That's who we dealing with. These are the people we did. That's who. Whether and you notice that comment, Bond, Mexicans and Puerto Ricans do not get along. They don't get along at all. But they sure can't get along when it comes time to be racist against us. I know the Mexicans were sitting back in the pocket, seeing Fat Joe get all this Latino credit for being an innovator in hip hop. So you know these Mexicans been spending the last year in the lab trying to figure out. Not all of them, not all of them, but enough of them ain't coming out and speaking up against this shit. And so yeah, it's smoke for everybody until enough of y'all come out and be like, yeah, yeah, no, that ain't it. Until other groups start putting their own people in check, we must put them in check. And if the shrapnel hits other people, oh motherfucking well. I'm tired of black people getting stolen from. I'm tired of black people getting marginalized. I'm tired of black people acting like we ain't shit, but they want to take our stuff. So if they want to come out and run their goddamn mouths, we gonna have something to say every fucking time. I'm gonna close this out pretty soon. I'm not gonna be up here all night. Anybody else got something to say? 'Cause I see Sincere, I see you up in here. FBI interest, Willie Dynamite. That's Bo. That's Racer Bo. Oh yeah, I got my documentary short premiere August, November 12th. It's a live stream pay-per-view. Go to DwannB.com. It's a live stream pay-per-view. So what you're gonna get is you'll get my whole full first episode extended copy, and then you get to keep the copy. And then after it's done, we're gonna have a Q&A. So the stuff that I introduced and the topics that I talk about in my live stream event, you can be able to hit me up and ask me questions. And it's a fundraiser. The pay-per-view stream, it's a fundraiser for my full season. I got a dope ass season that's coming up where we about to talk about all this shit. I'm working on an interview right now with Miss Alex Brown. She um she she sang background for Elvis, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, and Rick James, Ray Charles. These are the kind of people that I'm getting in my documentary. That generation that's still around that we won't have much longer. I got some more current rappers. I got some current musicians. I got a lot of names that's in it. But you know me, I'm not trying to push the names. I'm pushing the substance. It's all about the substance and the information. I'm pushing the substance. You're gonna see the names when you see these interviews. Once I record these interviews and you see who's on it. But for right now, we pushing the substance behind it because the substance is what's matter. Also, if you live in LA, oh, the homie FBA Empress came up. Salute. I'll get to you in 1 second. If you live in LA, or if you're gonna be in LA, announcement coming. I thought I'd have the flyer up today, but the graphic designer is taking a little longer than I thought. Um, if all goes as planned, November 8th. Save the date, November 8th. And then starting in December, every first and third Wednesdays, I got a live music night here in LA that I'm doing with Tashina Arnold. She's gonna be singing, and I'm gonna be hosting and MCing. And a lot of my music breakdowns that I do, I'm doing them live with a live band behind me. We're gonna have a live band. We're gonna have some of the dopest comics that's gonna come through and bless the stage, and some of the dopest singers. But you're never gonna know who's gonna be there. You gotta show up. You gotta show up to know who's gonna be there. And it's gonna be some A-list motherfuckers performing all the time. And then up and coming local acts. And when I say local acts in LA, everybody that moved to LA to make it. So a local act out here is burning, is burning that motherfucking stage. So follow me on my social medias because yeah, I'm doing we having these Twitter spaces. I'm doing my documentaries, but it's also good to take this shit into the tangible real world. So I'm providing a music night that's gonna have all the dopest musicians in LA. I got the dopest fucking band. I got the dopest background singers. I got the dopest horn section. I got the dopest singers that's gonna be coming around blessing the stage, and we gonna be doing the live music thing for real, for real, for real. All right. We got FBA Empress up in here. Salute. What's on your mind? I'm good. How you doing? Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Yeah, we that's what it's about. It's about education and educating because I listen to y'all. If it's some stuff going on, like when shit be going on the East Coast, I value when cats like Racer Boat get up and speak. Cause he can get I'm not in New York. I could speak from a general level, but I can't speak to the nuances. You know what I mean? So I learn from y'all. I listen when I hear people from DC and people from different parts of the South talk. It's that that's the beautiful thing about the internet. We all gotta talk to each other. I don't believe in big eyes and little U's and all that shit. And we learn from each other. You know what I mean? We figure this shit out together. Because one of the biggest things that they stole from us over our time here in America is our communication with one another. Every time black folks get a chance to talk to each other, man, we revolt, we revolt, we invent some shit, we create some shit, we kill some shit off, we do something. If you know history, every time we get a chance to talk to each other, we always up to no goddamn good. That's the thing I love about us. You get us talking to each other, we gonna figure some shit out. We gonna get up out of a situation. That's why the whole thing about that's why I don't really get into censorship. There's certain people online who've recently been kicked off the internet who I vehemently disagree with and their points of views and their stances on things. But the issue is when they start kicking people that you don't like off, soon, 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 soon and very soon, they gonna kick off a nigga you do like and you do need. So we gotta watch all this celebration. And I don't like Cynthia G. I did not like seeing Cynthia G get kicked off the internet. Yeah, I was on an episode of Fox Soul with her and she was on that bullshit. Yeah, she looked like a SWV knockoff, you know. Yeah, 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 she do. She looked like somebody who lost a man in the background of a Total video. She's still in 1993 like a motherfucker. I get it. I don't agree with nothing she say. Nothing. But she still should have the right to say it. And because there's a whole lot of bitter, angry chicks who agree. And let them have something to let them bitter, angry people have somebody to listen to. Shit. The longer they listen to her, the less they out in the world terrorizing the rest of us. Yeah, go stay home and listen to Cynthia G and leave us the fuck alone. You know what I mean? So nah, I'm not with her getting banned because people should be able to say whatever bullshit they want to say. Because when Cynthia G get banned, you see what they be doing to a lot of our favorite people in the new black media. We see how every now and again they strike a channel up or make niggas use their backup channel because of some bullshit. So yeah, nah, that's that censorship shit. And but what we've been doing as a people, we've been using this Twitter space and using these spaces and using YouTube as apparatuses for communicating with each other. And we got to keep that up. Our sincere finally came up here. What's up, my brother?
Peace, King. What's going on, man?
I'm good, my brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you letting me up to speak. Appreciate you having the room in general, man. I had to send that to you as soon as I seen this shit earlier, and so I
Yeah,
can't. I know I
man. I
came on a little
appreciate you for
bit
that.
late. I'm gonna have to listen to the playback, as I know you probably got into, debunking some of this bullshit they were saying in the article as far as the styles and all of that stuff. They trying to give credit to the cholos, and I really don't know that West Coast part of the history, where it actually came from, what the roots of it is. So I definitely got to listen to the playback to see where you was breaking it down. But we under siege, just you know what I mean, from all angles right now. It's very aggressive with the attacks coming at us right now. Like I don't know exactly what the time is. I don't know if it's just because of this whole 50th anniversary thing that's popping off or whatever it is, but it's like everywhere you look, you see it. You know what I mean? Because that was on Title. For those of y'all that don't know, the article, it was on Title. That's the streaming app. You know what I mean? And so they
Hey,
have articles and different things like that on there sometimes.
the title,
And
right?
so,
J-
huh?
that's Jay-Z's app, right?
Yeah.
And
You already know.
you know who manages Fat Joe?
Yeah, Rock Nation. Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And
Go ahead.
so,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And so I couldn't even see where there was a link to share it or nothing. So I just let me screenshot this right here, send this to my brother. You know what I mean? So you can get into this. But yeah, like I said, I know you probably talked about all that earlier, so I'll check out the playback.
I'll give you a little bit brief synopsis of what I was saying. Mexicans, when you're talking about early '90s, when black people were dressed like how they have an easy E dress. First of all, the gangsters dressed like that. All black people were never were not a monolith, especially back then. The niggas who weren't gangsters, the fly guys, niggas still wore suits back then. They were just loud electric blue suits. Go back and watch Class Act. Go back to how they were dressed on House Party and stuff like that. The cats go back to Boys in the Hood. You had Ice Cube's character, Doughboy, dressed one way, Trey dressed a whole nother way. And you know what I mean? Remember how Trey dressed? You had the clean boy, the clean cast dressed like that. And then when you get to the mid '90s, it flipped because niggas was getting their asses whooped by the LAPD. If you was wearing a starter jacket, if you had a Jerry curl, if you had a plaid shirt on, the LAPD was fucking with you, and so was other niggas from different hoods. So that's when cats went incognito and started wearing Tommy Hilfiger and Nautica and Polo and went preppy style. You know what I mean? We changed our style up over here on the West. While all that was going on, you know what the Mexicans was doing? Wearing fucking combing their goddamn hair back with hand combs and hair nets. Go back and watch Colors. How you saw the Mexicans dressed in 1988 in Colors? Yeah, they were still dressing like that in 1996. They don't change their style. They didn't get to that Tupac look into the mid 2000s. Mid to late 2000s is when they really started to get into the Tupac style look. I mean, the Tupac, the Easy E style look. When they would wear, yeah, we would both wear plaid shirts, but we rock them differently. Black folks wore plaid shirts, but always kept the top button unbuttoned. The whole Debo character,
Yo,
the Debo character was a running joke because buttoning your top button back then was like dressing like a Mexican. Because the Mexicans was buttoning their top button and leaving the rest of the buttons open and wearing them stupid ass long ass socks and stupid ass box long ass jeans and that stupid ass chain on their belt. We laugh at Mexicans. If you was dressed like a Mexican back then, that was a joke. Oh, that nigga dressed like a Mexican. That was worse than being called an African booty scratcher. Go ahead, Sissy. I think you have something to say. Then I'm gonna get to you, Racer Bo. Go ahead,
nah,
Sissy.
'cause I was gonna say I don't even remember Cypress Hill really even dressing like that. Like that wasn't even they look. They was really like the only Mexicans that was popping like that that I knew about. I knew about Kid Frost. He had his little couple records in the early '90s, but as far as really being significant on the rap scene, it was just Cypress Hill. Am I missing somebody?
Nah, you ain't missing nobody. And then when it going back, you ain't missing nobody. And even how they dress, they didn't dress like us. We dressed different, and the shoes was different. The pants was different. The cut of the pants was different. The cut of the shirts was different. And how we wore our shirts was different. Me- Being if somebody say you dress like a Mexican, that was always like one of the things where everybody would laugh. Like wouldn't nobody it would be kind of lighthearted because wouldn't nobody look at it like, can we get we don't really take Mexican serious. If that's just another way of saying you fucking dress stupid. And so yeah, if somebody said you was dressed like a Mexican and all the other black folks agreed, he was laughing at you that night. You wasn't gonna get no hoes dressed like a Mexican. Especially when I went to Westchester High. Shit. Just like Mexican. I don't even remember. Like, even the bad dressers didn't dress like Mexicans. Like that. Niggas who didn't give a fuck about fashion. They didn't buy the newest clothes. They didn't have the best pair of shoes. They wouldn't dress like Mexicans. We just completely different people and the styles and shit like that. But Racer Bo, and Sincere, you can speak whenever you want. But Racer Bo, I want to hear what you got to say, my man. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, peace, everybody. Peace to the room. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, peace, man. First off, Dwan, I just want to say peace, man. Once again, congratulations on the docu series that you got dropping. Once again, is very much needed. Um, One, I'm gonna start off saying, my brother, did you get the videos that I sent you of my grandfather's jazz collection in your DM? I sent it to you. I just wanted to make sure you got them. If not, I'll
No,
send it again.
I didn't even know. I didn't know you said them. I'm gonna check.
All right, cool. And it's funny that you're talking about how I used to get clowned for dressing like a Mexican out there in L.A. The same dynamic was going out here in New York. You know what I'm saying? You let Fat Joe and them tell it, they'll sit there and try to act like they was b-boys forever, man. But we used to get clowned. Like, we used to have a saying like, "Yo, if you got dressed like a Puerto Rican, you dressed like a Puerto Rican." Actually, I just clowned my uncle about a month or two ago on some shoes that he bought. I said those are some Puerto Rican shoes. You get what I'm saying? And what I mean is that and I'm not trying to be insulting, but it's just the truth. They had they had Latinos in general had a very cheap way of dressing, nor did they occupy the stores or had the flavor that we had. And especially out here in the East Coast, we get vicious winters. So when it comes to Latinos and Caribbeans and or immigrants in general, they have absolutely no type of winter season dress style. Which is why I often come up with the joke that while we was out here creating hip hop, you had Jamaicans immigrating to the country with fishnet tank tops and flip flops. You had Puerto Ricans coming over here with white linen short sets and the red sash and the straw hat. And I'm being facetious, but it's also true. They like when you see pictures of how Fat Joe likes to refer to Charlie Chase and all these Puerto Ricans that was supposed to be part of hip hop. They're not dressing like their people. They're not among their people. They're not acting like their people. They're amongst us and they're emulating our culture. You know what I'm saying? Even as far as the car thing, they want to sit there and give all this credit. They do that same thing out here on the East Coast. They want to, when it comes to East Coast car culture, they love to credit that to the Hispanics. But I always say, well, when you look at Black American history in general across this country, our brothers and sisters had car clubs going back to the 1930s. We had our own car companies, the Patterson Car Company. So I always suggested that if the Latinos are so deep into this car culture within the United States of America, please show me Latinos as a collective having car clubs and all of this and all of these things that are contributed to car culture prior
Hey,
World War II.
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish, but I gotta make this point real quick. I gotta make this
Yeah,
point
yeah, you got to get
because
our pause.
you brought up car culture, man. Out here in L.A., Mexican. If you drive behind an Astro van, you can guarantee it's a Mexican driving that motherfucker. They ain't made the Astro van since 1998. They ain't made that motherfuckers this whole goddamn century. But if you go on the east side of town, every 15 car you see is gonna be a motherfucking Astro van. That's Mexican car culture. Old ass pickup trucks. You know what I mean? That with all kind of bumps and bruises on it because you can't park. That's their car culture. Their car culture is old ass Honda Civics from like 1996. And when out here in LA, I don't know about where it is where y'all are, but the Mexicans, they be basically biting off the Asians. Like the Asians that get like a when the Asians they'll get like a VW or something the little racer cars. The Asians that had that shit clean with a high spoiler, sitting low, all kind of tricks and turbos and shit. And then when the Asians are done with it, they'll sell it to a Mexican, but they'll take all of the turbochargers out, so it still had that loud ass muffler and a big ass spoiler on the back, but only go 37 miles an hour in fifth gear. You know, that's Mexican car culture, getting old ass cars, 20, 30 goddamn years old, putting loud mufflers on them, or putting fucking chrome around every goddamn thing. They love that goddamn chrome. Putting chrome around the wheel well of the F-150 and around the windows of an F-150. That's their car culture. Even the most lamest of niggas is, if a nigga's gonna touch a car, it's gonna look nice. It's either gonna leave it alone, leave it stock, but we gonna put some rims on it. We gonna put a sound system. We gonna do this and that to it. We ain't gonna uglify a car. Well, except for them old niggas. Sometimes them old niggas like putting curb finders on everything. I love old black men want to put. I saw a nigga on my block. This nigga put Vogues. This nigga got this nigga got Vogues on a motherfucking on a Hyundai. I'm like, nah, bruh, Vogues only belong on Cadillacs and maybe Lincolns. You don't put no fucking Vogues on a Hyundai. But this old ass nigga down the street just put Vogues on a Hyundai. That's the ugliest shit a nigga would do, is put some Vogues on a car that don't need Vogues. But outside of that, we don't do ugly shit with cars. Mexicans gonna chrome it out. They gonna get old ass cars, old ass Hondas, and put racing material on it, and the shit can only go 16 miles an hour. That's their car culture. And then a handful of them may do some lowriders. But let's stop all that shit. Go on my Twitter. And not only do we do lowriders, we do the Harley thing too. On my Twitter, I put up a post from Taste of Soul this past Saturday, and all the motorcycles that they had out there, them clean ass bikes in Brothers War. And where that particular part that I filmed that part on at Taste of Soul, if you scroll back and look at my timeline, that was the same street on that scene from Boys in the Hood when Ferris shot at the when ooh that nigga almost dunked on him. You nigga. This nigga Gary Payton Jr. almost dunked on this white boy. My bad. Um, but on that scene on Boys in the Hood when the worst line ever in a movie, when he was like, "What you looking at, nigga?" And then Morris Chestnut respond, "I don't know, looking at nigga." That was the worst fucking response in movie history. Whoever wrote that line, I hope never wrote another line on a movie again. That shit was trash. But anyway, that scene on that movie was where I was walking down on Crenshaw, where I was filming all the bikes and the motorcycles that was out there. Nigga, we just got a certain style. How the fuck can we copy off anybody when our style just be so far ahead of everybody? I don't know how that maths, but go ahead, Racer Bo. My bad. I had to go on that tangent. You pissed me off when you said that, talking about car styles. Because I know they style. They style ain't
Nah,
shit.
listen. I ain't mad at you, and it's so funny that even though we on two different coasts of the country, man, it's the same thing out here, man. You could just apply that to Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans, man. They all running around with that damn Astro van still, or that 2500 Ram van, or whatever that shit is, and running around with these old ass Hondas, and that's what they do, man. It's true, and like you said, they put the chrome trimming on everything. They get the twin naked ladies sitting there back to back. Puerto Ricans love that chrome twin naked lady, man. They love that shit. But that's just what it is, bro. But the point I was making is that they love when it comes to the car culture. If the dominant society wants to look at so-called melanated people, they always contribute the Black American car culture to Hispanic. Same thing they're doing with hip hop. But when you actually look at American history, you do not even see Latinos in any cars until the 1940s, for the most part. You don't see any Latinos riding around in any car clubs in the 1920s, 1930s, and et cetera. And not only that, uh, 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 Black American car culture is the whole reason that you have stock car racing right now.
I was just about to go to stock car racing. Go there, but I was
Yeah,
go. You
yeah.
go
I
ahead.
mean,
You say it.
for those who need a visual reference, just go watch the movie Grease Lightning, starring Richard Pryor and Pam Grier. That kind of gives you insight on Black American car culture, which actually came out of bootlegging. You get what I'm saying? When our brothers and sisters, particularly our brothers, was coming home from the First World War, and once again we're not receiving the GI Bill, and you could tell, and ask any veteran what they're going through now on the street. We had to go through.
Prohibition.
Right. And we had to go through alternatives to make money. So during the Prohibition era, and once again, we know who was out there in them backwoods in the bayou making them goddamn hooch. Ask Uncle Nearest about that. So we was also the ones moving it. Not only that, when you understand the times of the country, if a black person didn't own the car, I couldn't take my shit up to Pep Boys. We had racial discrimination, so I might have to go take my shit to the backwoods somewhere where a brother might have to smuggle some parts that he got from World War I. Or metals that was being collected for the next war, which is people don't never talk about the nuances and the climate of this country during these time periods for you to understand that just overall Black American culture, we always develop our culture despite of the general census of the public. We always had to operate outside the lines because we was never accepted within society. So so just period. So like, so just to land on your point, we never look to any other culture for reference for anything. Our whole entire culture was strictly built off originality and being separate from the rest of society because we were never accepted fully in this country as Americans, even though we built the country and we as a people make America what it is today. So I land on that, brother. Thanks, man.
That's some real talk, man. That's some real talk. What's up, Nikki and down there, Nicey girl? I saw Nicey at the Taste of Soul. Did you see them? The motorcycle hit the emoji, Nice. Did you see the motorcycles on Crenshaw that was lined up over by the winter stencil? Man, it's just we got this. And this is what I always say to other groups, and I don't ever even want to say this in a disrespectful way because it's not being disrespectful, but it's just telling the truth. We as Black people, we are too dense with culture to have time to take anything from you guys. I mean, we are so dense with culture, extremely dense. There's not enough time in the day to borrow from other people. We are an ethnocentric group of people. For those of you who don't know what ethnocentric, I remember we studied ethnocentricity in anthropology when I was in college. That was a major part of what we what you if you ever study cultural anthropology, the different styles of countries, how different countries, different cultures have different relationships of the world. The American United States of America relationship from the world is ethnocentric. It's about us and only us. We don't give a fuck about nobody else. White people in America and Black people are cousins. That's the part that everybody wants to forget. Those of us who could trace our lineage back to the slave fields, that means at least 4 generations. If you go back 4 generations, that means that's 32 grandparents. I'm sorry, 16 grandparents. 5 generations, 32 grandparents. One of them 32 grandparents was white for most of us. One of them 32 great grandparents was a white person. Doesn't mean it was a voluntary grandparent, but one of them 32 in most of our cases is. And at that point, the white folks got the land and the assets and the title and the deeds and the rights, and we had to go on the other side and make our way. Why did I bring that up? When it comes to our culture, we were segregated, even from our own white family. But even when it comes to that being said, you still going to share common cultural bonds, no matter how things play out. No matter how things play out as far as the laws go, as far as segregation, because you're still in the same country for hundreds of years before you start getting all this mass immigration over the last 100 years, you're going to have a lot of common traits, especially when that group is the one that educates you. So part of being American is to be ethnocentric, to not give a fuck about nobody outside of America. That is as American as apple pie, not giving a fuck about nobody. And us Black folks, we especially like that. We more ethnocentric than white people. Because white folks act ethnocentric, but they'll keep looking at what you do and they'll steal your recipes, they'll steal this and steal that. Black people, and tell me if I'm lying, people out there, we for the most part be thinking all the other groups are corny. Yeah, niggas got a problem with trying to fuck all the women in the other groups and think ain't nothing wrong with fucking the women in the other groups. The problem is you niggas be thinking smashing the women from another group means we accept it. That's the part that Black men got to clean up and Black folks got to clean up. The whole us thinking that we accept it because other groups want to have sex with us and other groups like our movie. We got to get over that part right there, making us think that we're accepted at that point. But outside of that, we really ain't trying to be like nobody else. We ain't trying to dress like nobody else. We ain't trying to act like nobody else. We ain't trying to dance like nobody else. We definitely don't want our music to sound like yours. Afro beats for most of us, even for black people who like Afro beats, you ain't gonna hear them niggas listen to more than 2.5, 3 songs. And I'm talking about the niggas who like it. Culturally, we don't give a fuck about nobody but ourselves. And that's good and bad. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. We don't learn other languages in America. We don't give a fuck about your language. We don't give a fuck about your cultural customs. The part of the reason why Latinos are having such a difficult time in America is because they refuse to take the sacrifice all of the other immigrant groups have to take when they come here. All of the Germans had to change their name from Drumpf to Trump, from Christoph to Christopher. All the other white groups, when they come here, they get rid of all ethnic identity tags. That's part of being American, is to get rid of all ties to Europe, unless it's Anglo-Saxon Protestant. If you're white, Anglo-Saxon, and Protestant, you can be as European as you want to be. But if you ain't a WASP, you have to change your name, change your customs. You can't bring shit. Now, they'll allow Italians to bring some fucking sandwiches. They'll allow some Greeks to bring some fucking goddamn tzatziki sauce, where the fuck you, a gyro. But the rest of that shit you gotta leave at home. And the Latinos, they're not willing to leave that shit at home. So they'll never be white. But at the same time, when you get to that second and third generation Latino, they thinking, man, my Latino culture is corny than a motherfucker. Let me act like these niggas over here. And then we get to where we get right now. And that's what we dealing with. Hell no, no motherfucking West Coast was inspired in any way, shape, or form by Latinos. Cholos, essays, we different. Sincere, I know, did you have something you want to say, my brother? Or Racer?
Just real quick, just to add on.
My bad, my bad. I muted you. My bad,
No,
my
no,
bad.
it's all good. It's
Go
all
ahead, go
good.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I just find it funny that what it is that or speaking on the Latinos is that, and the thing I don't, the thing I think that they a thing that I believe that they project onto us is that they don't understand, like I had said earlier in the space, our culture is our culture is built off of being not accepted. So just referencing the car culture, if let's just say if it was a Latino car club running around New York City at the time during the 1920s and 30s, more than likely over 75% of the time they were pretending to be Italians just so they could have their scene, or be on the scene. Latinos always found themselves stuck in the middle between whiteness and blackness in this country, always. We always drew the line and understood collectively as a people that we're not over there, we're over here, we have our thing over here, and we're not worried about what's going on over there. Latinos always try to straddle the fence between being black, being white at one minute, and then they're trying to struggle with having their own significant identity. So what it is that they try to project that onto us and say, well, you're like that too, and you got this from us. But like I said, once again, we look at our history. We had car companies and car clubs openly, with at least within our communities, running around this country when y'all was sitting there pulling tamale carts out there in Los Angeles with a mule. So and once again, this even applies to how we talking about it in hip hop today. When you actually look at what people were doing prior to when they said hip hop was incepted, there's absolutely no evidence of you doing anything close or remotely or precursor to hip hop at all, because it's not your culture.
And you know what else you
So,
can say, Racer?
mm,
You know what else you can say, brother? What about, okay, if we got it from if we got car culture from Latinos, what about the brothers up in Detroit and up in Dayton, Ohio? There wasn't no Mexicans up there. Where did they get their car culture from? None. It wasn't no Puerto Ricans or no Mexicans up there. Where they get it from?
right, that's my point. But then even with this melting pot thing, see, this melting pot thing didn't come along until after the civil rights movement. So we're sitting there, we're talking about at least between 60 to 70 years of automobile and innovation, automobile innovation that we got to experience in this country with while being segregated. Like I said, they like to straddle the fence about being in our community when convenient. So their thing is that, well, we live right next to each other, but yeah, we didn't fuck with each other, my dude. You get what I'm saying? So stop. Just because you lived across the street don't mean that we were sitting there exchanging cultures. And that's the whole thing that the argument they like to use. They like to use that they were able to assimilate the culture simply of proximity, but but at the same time, we know through our own experience in this country that we were living in the same houses, same plantations as white people, but there was no culture exchange. Once again, we had to do our own thing. So once again, a lot of this is projection, and it's playing three card Monty with people's identities, and it's just something that we don't do. That's why when it comes to us bringing receipts and bringing evidence about what we've done as a culture, is pretty plain upon tables. There's no mystery to it. We could literally show tangible proof that what we've done and what we innovated. When it comes to these other groups, the waters get muddy because at one time y'all sitting there playing identity politics with yourself, and then at one time you're sitting there being anti-black, but everything you try to claim is black culture. So that's why like I said, when it comes to Latinos in this country, they always been stuck in the middle because they always had collectively had problems with their identity as far as ethnicity, race, and culture. And I land, bro.
That's real talk. So I'm glad we having this conversation, my man. I'm about to close out pretty soon. Sincere, I don't know if you're still there, but if you do, you can say what you want to say. To close it out.
Nah, do you think, man? Again, man, appreciate you having this thing, and can't wait for the series, bro. Looking forward to it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, go to DwannB.com. The link is in my bio. Please, 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 everybody, come on over to the live stream pay-per-view. The extended pay-per-view. I got some things in the extended version with me on the drum set, myself, explaining a lot of these concepts and how they play out. So not only am I explaining it to you, I'm playing it myself on the drums. But that's only going to be in the pay-per-view version of the documentary. It's not in the other version that I'm going to release. It's only in the pay-per-view version, and we also have some other things. I told you if you're in LA, got my live music night starting real soon, November 8th. So please pay attention to my Twitter space, my Twitter and all that good shit. Everything on my website is 20% off DwannB.com right now. I got the GoFundMe up for the documentary series. The series is getting done regardless, but the more you guys can help me out, the better quality it's gonna be. All right. Um, so yeah, I'll be back at this for those if you miss anything. I'm gonna upload this up to my YouTube tomorrow. I'm not gonna upload tonight because the video I did today was pretty funny. Go back and watch my YouTube today. It was a good video I did on Tyrese, that whole situation. Dwight Howard getting Dookie dug out and been to that shit in court. We talked about that shit, and we talked about a whole lot of other good shit. Yeah, go to DwannB.com for all that. And thank y'all again for this. Y'all have a good one.